Hello wanderers and welcome back to my channel. In the last video I was talking about the best ways to travel, but meanwhile let's just say that something happened that truly inspired me to make this video, and that is I broke my ankle. Yeah. A few months ago, I've decided to try aerial dance and I freaking love it. Yeah, it was a sport accident, which is fine because actually if I were going to hurt my ankle, I'd rather do it doing something I love rather than, I don't know, just falling on the sidewalk. That would be really annoying. This small little accident kind of made me think about one of the things that sometimes can truly set us off when we're traveling, and that is setbacks. And when I talk about setbacks, just like my broken ankle, those are all things that can happen during a travel or during our everyday life that kind of leads our routine, our road astray, and we have to reset everything and rethink everything we wanted to do. Now, this can happen in our everyday life, but it can also happen while we're traveling. Say that, for example, you had this trip or this tour planned, and maybe though, because of the weather, because of the rain, or I don't know, hurricane, earthquake, our plans get, well, we would say ruined. When it actually happens while you're traveling, you just feel like,
Oh my goodness, I'm so unlucky. Why does it always happen to me? Why now? Why today? Why to me? Why, Lord, why?
actually, it's not you, but especially in certain countries. And let me tell you, I love traveling Asia. And those things can happen more often, definitely in certain areas and certain places rather than others. These kind of situations are actually quite common. It's not weird for places like, I don't know, Thailand or anywhere in Asia actually to have very strong downpours. Like you were planning to do something that you really wanted to do, but you can't do it because it's raining too heavy. Or, for example, has it happened to me when I was in Japan? I had planned to climb Mount Fuji. And that is not something you can just decide to do and do it. You have to do things like book your stay before going there. And it's a lot of planning involved, of course. And our schedule was pretty fixed. So that happened right after I did my volunteering with World Packers in Yamanashi province. And if you want to know more about it and my experience there, it was amazing. You can have a look at my video over here. What happened was that a few days before we were meant to go to our Mount Fuji climb was the day my partner was coming, and he came right during a hurricane. Or is it a typhoon in Japan? My goodness, I can never remember, sorry. It's either a hurricane or a typhoon. I think it's a typhoon. I'm not sure. Anyways, we were going to go to do our Mount Fuji climbing 2 days after that. So we had everything planned. The typhoon was gone by the time. We knew that that was going to run through Mount Fuji the day before we were going to climb it. So we're like, we've got this, we can do it. We went to do our climbing. Let's just say that was probably not the smartest idea we ever had. But because our plans or our schedule for Japan was so tight, we were like, okay, this is our only occasion. We booked the hotel to leave our luggage and to stay the night before. Also, our stay on the Mount Fuji, because we were planning to stay in the hut and on top of Mount Fuji where you can sleep. Actually, it's most common to do a Mount Fuji climb overnight because you would climb during the night, reach the top to see the sunrise, which is breathtaking. One of the most beautiful experiences of my life had been to watch the sunrise on top of Mount Fuji. That was absolutely worth it. But yes, what you usually would do it would be to climb it overnight, and then once you reach the top, you see the sunrise, you go to the small temple that's there, you can get your fortune told, you can send postcards from the top of Mount Fuji. There is a small post office where you can write your postcard and send it. Really lovely experience to do it overnight, actually. But we just thought, okay, we can spend the night there. It would be one more experience, to see the stars from there. We did not consider the typhoon, of course, when we planned it, so we did it anyway, and the climb up was just atrocious. I'm not going to go into details about our climbing Mount Fuji and the entire experience, but if you're curious to know about it, if you want more information, let me know and I'll sure to talk about it in the future. Anyways, we went through this atrocious climb where we were in the middle of the storm the entire time. It was horrible, really cold, extremely windy and rainy. Couldn't see anything. Luckily enough, there is like nothing on Mount Fuji. It's a volcanic mountain, so it's just flat, gray ground all the way to the top. If I had to say that I enjoyed climbing Mount Fuji, that would not be it. We reached the top out of faith and inertia. The night spent there was even more atrocious than the actual climb. It was just horrible. Yes, the sunrise on top the next day was worth it, and the climb down was smooth and easy. It was a sunny, clear, beautiful day. There were thousands of people climbing up on that day. Wiser people. The entire experience, yes, we did it anyway, but I am sure that if we had waited or if we tried to replan it to do it the next day, it would have been a much better experience. With that said, I know that sometimes there are tours and there are things that you already planned, paid, so you don't have any other option but to do it that way. Otherwise, kind of my mindset is that sometimes setbacks can be really annoying, but actually sometimes setbacks can be an opportunity to change your plans, to discover something unexpected. When it comes to traveling, could just be that if you can't do that tour, no matter what, for example, because the weather just not allow it, you can consider trying to do other activities. I would suggest in that situations to ask recommendations, especially to the hotels or locals or even the tour place that got canceled or whatever. Ask and look up recommendations to other things that you can do in that kind of situation. Say the problem is the weather, maybe there is some interesting museums or interesting place that you can visit indoor. You can of course ask if they can change your tour date, if you can replan it. So in general, my advice here is that when you travel and you have setbacks, try at best to be flexible. Don't fix too much on the once in a lifetime opportunity to do that, because nothing in life is a one-time opportunity. I was in China in 2016 and I thought that I would never be back, and I did last summer. So you never know, truly, you never know in life. Also, when it comes to planning, you try to squeeze in as much as possible, but actually, when you plan a holiday, a long travel, any kind of a slow travel, whatever it is, it doesn't matter how long you stay. You don't have to necessarily say, okay, because I'm staying here 3 months, I'm gonna see everything. I don't think that's necessarily the right mindset. First of all, because you go back to the tourist mentality where you just want to see everything just for the sake of seeing it. But actually some things might be worth it. Some things might not be really that interesting maybe to you. So I would advise to truly pick those things that you love the most. Concentrate on those things that you're like, okay, I want to absolutely do and see this and that. But leave space for the unexpected. Be flexible and be open-minded to the other things that you might encounter that might be interesting to you, that you might love to do, and that you might not know about it yet. They might become the greatest memories you have. Unexpected, believe me. Even this situation, I know that it might sound absurd, but in retrospective, now that I think back about my Japanese Mount Fuji experience, and that was, believe me, a crazy experience, not a nice one. Still, it's like, one day you can tell stories, and the most interesting ones are usually not when you say,
Oh my goodness, I went to Mount Fuji, it was so great. It's such a smooth climb, the view, everything was beautiful.
but in a sense, those experiences can truly become like treasures, like lifetime treasures and memories that you can share. They come like crazy stories. Guys, the most unexpected things truly come a little bit in a crazy way. Just like I've told you before about my accident with boot soles and every situation I've been in when I lost the sole of my shoes in Japan, by the way, that happened too, actually. So you never really know. And these situations, although they feel like they're very inconvenient, and believe me, they are when you're in the middle of it, once you come back and you look at it in retrospective, they do come out as kind of crazy but extremely interesting memories to remember. It makes you realize that you can actually be so flexible. You can really improvise when you need it so much, and you can truly be so capable of adjusting to any kind of situation, even when you did not expect to be able to do it. So yeah, that's what my leg taught me, or more like my travel experience taught me, but my leg kind of reminded me. I've told you before that I love traveling and I love taking a long break when I don't have school, when I'm not working during the summertime, where I only travel. I don't work. I would do, yes, volunteering, but it's more for the experience. It's not really to save money. It's not really my main objective. I do volunteering because I love meddling with locals, with other travelers, because you get to just discover so much more than just being always on your own. Especially if you travel with a group of friends that you already know, with a best friend or with a partner. It's just a different way of traveling compared to when you're solo and you decide to do an experience like volunteering abroad. And by the way, if you want to know more about volunteering abroad, I also have a video about that, about my experience, not just with worldpackers, but also with other methods of traveling solo that save you the money, that truly makes you experience the culture and the local vibe, and make it possible for you to travel long term. And that is when I was, for example, a au pair in China. So if you want to know more about that, I've got a video, you can watch it over here. Sometimes we are so focused in doing our thing and everything in our life is planned. I had planned, as always, to work really hard during the year and to do everything I could to save up the money, to work hard, even on YouTube. Basically, lately, all I've been saying was that I had no time, which was absolutely true. I was always tired, and that I had no time to rest, relax, to chill. And guess what? For an entire week, all I could do was lay on the couch and rest. Actually, for me, it's not the best because I'm a very proactive person and needs to do something. I had to fix a lot of problems. You could say I was busy in a sense, but it also made me reset and kind of stop back and look at it and say, okay, wait, step back a moment, look at things. Because I've been rushing everything so much, but I'm always very focused and I always give 110%. And that, guys, believe me, it's kind of tiring. Sometimes it's just a tiny bit too much. And when this happened, it truly made me realize that maybe this is just like when you travel and a setback happens. You have to recalibrate, you have to rethink, and you kind of have to say, maybe instead of filling up all my traveling with like a fixed schedule where I'm going to visit 10 different things every single day, maybe I should put 4 things a day, and then the rest, let the adventure lead me to the unexpected. Or maybe just leave a few days where you've got nothing planned. Because who knows, maybe you're visiting a place and you love it and you just don't feel like leaving yet, but you already have everything planned, so you have to. My next travel plans, which is a video that is coming out soon, I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but it's going to be awesome. And I'm so glad that this accident happened now and not later, because that would have been very inconvenient. Instead of putting everything jam-packed with things that I want to do, I left room here and there with things where I don't even know where I'm staying. I don't even know what I'm doing those days, because who knows, maybe I just want to spend a few more days in a place that I loved, or maybe I just want to wait and see there what the locals, what other travelers recommend. I'm always having my ear wide open when I'm traveling to hear other people's ideas and experiences, to see if there's something that might just resonate with me. This applies to traveling, it applies to everyday life. Take setbacks sometimes as a reminder to ourselves to give space to life, the unexpected. Take a breather. like chill. We don't always have to rush through everything. We don't have to do as I do, always do 110% everything in our life. We can take it slow sometimes. And the interesting thing is that this channel is all about long-term slow traveling, but my life is always on a rush. So I should really learn a little bit from my traveling style and kind of trying to apply it on my everyday life as well. So yeah, I know that this was a little bit different compared from my usual videos when I'm giving you all advices and guides and all of that. But I still hope that it was useful, because truly, I think especially when you travel solo, you meet setbacks and we have to just adjust and recalibrate and be flexible. And that is mostly a matter of mentality more than anything else. Nothing is so crazy and outrageous. Of course, if your flight gets late 1 day or 2 days, you're not happy because you're wasting money, you're wasting your time. And I know it's not a nice experience, but sometimes we just need to realize that life is full of setbacks. I know that I'm probably going to say something very obvious, but you kind of have to learn to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the rain to pass. So yeah, I hope this video was useful in another way, and it might help you in your next great traveling adventure. With that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.